Well, hello and welcome to the Noob Gardener. This channel is basically here to help people if you want to learn some tips about gardening, haven't got a Scooby-Doo, and we're going to cover all kinds of things. I'm going to try and keep it really simple, no Latin names, nothing like that. And today we're going to do a bit of lawn care, because let's face it, every man loves his lawn. So, lawn care for noobs. So if you're watching this channel, I'm assuming you're not probably working for Wimbledon, and your lawn might look a little bit like this. To see what's going on, let's get down and dirty. Oh. Right then, so down at your lawn, have a look how much grass you've got. Here we haven't got lots. I've got lots of moss, as you can see here. We got some weeds, we got some clover, basically everything apart from an actual lawn. So, first step, let's just give it a cut, clear it off and see what we're left with. Well, now that's done, you're probably wondering, what kind of equipment am I rolling with? Well, I'm not actually rolling with my equipment. I got one at home. This is my dad's. This is the Bosch. In terms of buying a lawnmower, if you read online, they'll say it has to have 5 blades or 10 blades or 87,000 blades. You don't really need that. You're not talking about a Wimbledon lawn here. You just want a normal, typical blade. 2 blade, 4 blade will be perfect. Try and make sure the blades are sharp. If they're not, it just means the grass doesn't get a good clip. But even if it isn't, end of the world, it's not that bad. One thing I would say, if you're thinking about buying a mower, get yourself one with a roller on the back. It just gives you that lovely, nice little stripe. It means at the end of the day, when you look at your lawn, you can go, tasty. So, I've done that. And now, let's have another look. So we got a lot of moss and a lot of these kind of weeds as well. These like kind of ground weeds here. They come out pretty easily, to be honest. You want to get all root weeds out at the root, and I might do a video about weeding in a bit. So I've got some patches here, here. So, like with all garden jobs, when you look at something as crap as this, it's a bit overwhelming. First thing, start big. So I'm going to weed it, and then we'll talk about scarifying. But how do I weed? Good question that no one's ever answered or even asked. So don't just do this. You're not really getting rid of anything, you're just basically taking the top off, and before your grass grows it'll be back again. So what you need is a trowel. What you want to do, I have to put this down, get your trowel in there just by the side of it, lever it up, and then you get the full roots. You want the roots out because it will take a lot longer to come back. And once you've done one, and there's a lot of it, you can kind of take them all out, and you're just getting all the roots out. Unless you have OCD, you don't have to do all of it, but just get rid of the big areas, and then the grass will help actually stop getting rid of the rest. So I'm going to start weeding, and you can watch my arse go up and down for 10 minutes. course, how you weed is, you know, like many things, optional choice. You can either do it on your knees or, well, I like to bend over. Not in that way. So you've weeded your garden and weeded your lawn, got the big ones out. Whee! And now you want to try and get rid of the moss. Now, if you're very energetic and you've got lots of time and you don't mind sweating like a absolute pig, then you can just use a normal garden rake. Now, strangely enough, you don't want the hard one. Whee! Something like this would just be perfect. However, I am inherently lazy, and so I'm going to need some power. So, if you're lazy like me, get yourself one of these bad boys. That's a bit dated, but you can pick them out from Amazon or anything like that. They typically have 2 attachments. Oh. This, which is a dethatcher, and it usually comes with this bad boy as well, which is a scarifier. So at the moment, to get rid of all the moss, we're just going to use the dethatcher. If you want to get really serious, you can fit this bad boy and create grooves, but we can't be bothered with that today. So select to 0. Right, we've done one pass, and as you saw, I used the mower just to pick up all the moss, and well, we're getting a bit better now. We're starting to see a little bit of dirt coming through, but as you can see, still quite a lot of moss, so better do it again. So when do you want to do it? Well, you can do it whenever you want, I guess, but when it comes to lawn care, you ideally want to do it in the autumn or the spring. It's either too hot, grass won't seed, it will just burn out. If it's too cold, you can dormant seed grass, but there's a risk that especially fresh shoots in a hard frost, they'll just freeze off and die, and all that hard work's gone to waste. So you either do it in spring or autumn. I'd say autumn's best, because then everything looks crap during the winter anyway. By the time it comes to spring, you have a lovely, lovely garden. So We've raked it, we got rid of the moss, we de-weeded it. Now it's time for grass. And ideally, unless you've got a lot of compost lying around, just get yourself some multi-purpose compost. Doesn't have to be anything special. I know that garden centres will sell you special lawn compost for ridiculously expensive. We're not looking at Wimbledon here. Just get some multi-purpose. Right then, it's coming to seeding. Now, ideally you want to use one of the kind of spreader things and that'll get you a nice even coverage, but I don't have one of them. So, I'll teach you how to seed by hand. Should be very easy for the gentlemen. Ladies might need a little things. You just basically want to do this kind of motion. And you basically want to get a handful and just sprinkle it even as you go along. Just like that. Should be easy for the fellas, that. Right then, so we've seeded the lawn. It's a nice even spread. Wrist hurts a little bit, but you know, been training for it since I was 13. So now we've got to dress the lawn. As I said before, just use a little bit of compost. Multi-purpose will be fine. And what we're just going to do is dump it off all over the lawn and then just rake it all out and then we'll be done. Right then, so dressed the lawn. As you saw, I started off by patting it down with a rake if you haven't got a roller, but suddenly realised I've got a roller, so make it a lot easier. You just want to roll it down just to kind of give, or impact it down, just to give a little bit of contact between the grass and the soil. It will just help it germinate. So, I mean, obviously you look at it now and it looks like I've just completely ruined my lawn. However, you wait, give me 2 weeks, we'll come back and check back. And well, if anyone actually likes this video, which I highly doubt it, I'll maybe do one in the spring just to show you how it looked like in the end. One last thing to do is water it. Now, I'm doing this probably a little bit too late in the year. I've looked ahead a couple of weeks and there's no frost due. You don't want to be doing this around frost time. But the ground I've got is quite moist already, so you just really want a moist layer. Typically the best way to know that is your compost will go a slightly darker colour. If it's a very, very light compost, or if it looks very light, it probably needs a water. You want to mist it for the first couple of weeks until you start seeing those shoots growing. Then you want to give it in reasonable water, so you're not talking drowning the thing, but at the same time you don't want to just mist it. So you want to get about 1 centimetre, 2 centimetres deep, and then once you've done your first cut, that's when you really want to dump a little bit more water in, just to encourage the water to go deeper down, encourage those roots to grow deeper, and that will keep you a really strong root base. Now, in terms of stopping things coming back, as you've noticed, I haven't used any chemicals on this. I'm a bit of an organic farmer. Well, I'm not, but my granddad was. And I don't really like using pesticides and herbicides and all kinds of fertilizers on your lawn. So this is very much an organic way of doing it. As you see, it does involve a little bit more work. If you wanted to go the chemical route, you could nuke it with some weed killer, you could kill it all off and then do the same process. But ultimately, you know, at the end of the day, the best way to keep your lawn growing well is to regularly cut it. Keep your height of your grass probably at least 3 or 4 centimeters high. So you're probably mowing on level 4 or 3. The shorter you get, the nicer it will look, but it's easier for weeds to penetrate. The longer grass, it will cool the actual ground level and shade it, which makes it actually much harder for things like moss and weeds and things to actually fight their way through. Grass is pretty resilient in that way. So, well, I hope you enjoyed the grassing video. If you were a stoner and looking for advice on how to grow that type of grass, old Beelzebub's lettuce, sorry, you came to the wrong place. But if you wanted to grow your lawn, hope you learned something. Thanks a lot. Like and subscribe.